the LEGO Oscar, the Bricky Bavaria Oscar of 2021 goes to Luka.
I mean, what an amazing talent. The guy is a genius. And that's why I'm excited to share with you 5.5 things that I've learned by watching and studying First Order LEGO. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. My name's Andy, and I thought something we could do here on the channel would be to study the work of some of the great LEGO builders out there, kind of package some of the things that we've learned and share them here with you on the channel. First up is First Order LEGO. And if you're not familiar with First Order LEGO or Luka, he is a LEGO artist from Croatia who has over 74,000 subscribers on YouTube, over 16,000 followers on Instagram. He's a member of Rebel Lug, and as you saw in the opening clip, he won first place in Bricking Bavaria's 2021 Oscars. He is a well-respected builder within the LEGO community and someone who I look up to greatly when it comes to being a custom LEGO creator. You know, as a person who has a career in learning and development, I know that the best way to learn a new skill is to learn from somebody who's done it before you, especially when that person is as skilled and talented and really as special as Luka is. What really, drew me to his work was just the amount of detail that he puts into his builds. He's very detail oriented. He cares about every single piece of LEGO that he places into his build, and he really transforms LEGO into fine pieces of art. And as somebody who's looking to become a better builder, right, to increase my own skills, I thought what better way than to actually study the videos that Luka has put out there and see what I could take away from them. Now, these 5.5 things that I'm going to share with you, these are not tips or advice that Luka has directly handed down to me. These are just things that I've picked up by watching his videos. But I did reach out to Luka and ask for his permission to make this video because I'm going to share a few clips from his videos to help explain, what it is I'm pointing out. And he had no problem with it at all. So thank you very much, Luka, for that. I've gone ahead and put links to his YouTube channel and his Instagram down below in the description. Make sure you take the time to check him out, give him a sub and a follow. It's gonna be worth your time, I guarantee it. All right, well, let's go ahead here and jump into number one, which is really going to lay the foundation for all the following things that I have learned. It's really foundational to the mindset that you need to go into when building creations like First Order LEGO. And that is when you're building smaller to medium-sized MOCs, the wow factor is going to be in the details. The way I see it, there's two ways you can create the wow factor when it comes to building with LEGO, and that's size and details. So if you're gonna be focused on building smaller or a medium-sized MOC, then you definitely want to ensure that you're creating interest for the viewer by packing the details in. That's what they look for. That's what I've noticed people call out and praise in the smaller to medium-sized builds, and that's something I've definitely noticed and learned from by viewing Luka's builds, is just the amount of detail that he puts into his builds and how much just interest it creates. So I really want to kind of show you what I'm talking about here, because this is going to set the stage for some of the following things that I've learned. So let's take a look here at one of Luka's videos. All right, so we're taking a look now at Luka's Samurai Temple Ruin MOC, which was a beautiful build, incredibly detailed. And we're going to watch the time lapse of the build here, just a short clip of it. And what I kind of want to point out here is when you're watching a time lapse video, You can obviously admire the build. You can see how it kind of comes together, and you're entertained by not only the build, but the speed at which the build is being created through the time lapse. But we're not necessarily learning much from it. So in order to slow this down, so to speak, and be able to consume and comprehend what's actually taking place, we can come down here to the right hand side and reduce the playback speed to 25%. And now when we watch this video clip back, we can start to see all the little details, all the little brick placements, and all the different little tricks that are being used to pull the creation together. And this is going to bring us to number 2, or the second thing that I've learned by watching Luka build, and that is he builds in all of his details as he goes. And I believe that allows him to build the MOC around the details instead of him being limited by the MOC in trying to work his details in later. And I think that's something that happens is when we think big picture, or we think about building the big structures and then working in our details later, that we actually become locked and kind of trapped within the build, and our creativity isn't as free as it could be to include the details that maybe we could have. And so, and by building or working in your details as you go, you can work or build the MOC around those details, and you just add detail and add detail and add detail, and then the MOC starts becoming this culmination of all these details. And I think that's really what makes a lot of Luka's builds so special, is that he thinks about the detail placement and that actually turning into his MOC, versus him building the MOC and then thinking about his detail placement. All right, let's take a look at a different build from Luka, which is his Star Wars Zombie Apocalypse, which is an absolutely phenomenal build. I mean, the amount of detail that's in this build is just mind-boggling. But, you know, the third thing that I've learned in watching Luka build is his abstract use of pieces, like these cylinder pieces. The way that he works that into the build is just interesting, right? It's not the normal or appropriate way that those pieces are supposed to be used, but he incorporates them in the build in a unique way that really makes it interesting and fun to view and see. Like that fan piece there on the left, I've never seen that before, but that looks amazing. And then he has these Technic like train looking pieces. I'm not exactly sure what they are, but the way he works those into this build right here is genius as well, because it's just different, right? You look at the build and you're thinking to yourself, that's not how those pieces are supposed to be used, but I love that he used them in that way because that makes it so cool. And so I think that's the third thing that I've learned by watching Luka, is just look at your pieces, see things that maybe, you know, are different or just cool looking, and figure out a way you can incorporate them into your build like he does here. All right, so I've fast forwarded a bit here in this Zombie Apocalypse build to point out some additional things here that I've learned. And the fourth thing that I've learned is, if I pause it right here, you can see these masonry bricks over here is the type of brick being used in the traditional way that a masonry brick would be used, because it's the design or the type of brick. But if you look over here, that's the same masonry brick, but he's not using the design of it in the traditional way. He's using the contours of the brick in a different way to create just a different way of looking at it, which creates additional interest. So not only is he working along here and working in every single tiny detail. I mean, look at this. When I was talking about using pieces in abstract ways, this is a red snake piece that he's working in here to represent, you know, wires. So it's just using pieces in different ways, and then using pieces that were designed to be used one way, just turning them in a different way to use their contours to build out something different. I want to show you what I'm talking about here. Let me fast forward just a little bit here. Maybe right about here. Okay, let's pause. These are grill pieces. Now, how genius is that? To turn the grill piece sideways in the wall so that these little holes just make it look like little imperfections, or maybe they're bricks that are exposed where the holes are showing a turn sideways, or whatever it is. It's just using that piece, its contours or its shape or its little design in a different way to get a different look. And I just think that's incredibly genius. So that's the fourth thing that I've learned, is it's not just about in number 3 as far as using different pieces in abstract ways, but it's looking at a piece and not seeing it for what it is, but seeing it for what it could be by just changing the way that you view its contours and use those within a build. All right, so I fast forwarded a little bit more in this Apocalypse MOC. We can learn a lot from this Apocalypse MOC. I mean, it's pretty much the culmination of everything I've been saying. But number 5 for me that I've learned is that it's okay to be messy. And it's not a knock. What I'm saying is that the build here, as we see Luka move along here, and his use of different pieces, especially along the back side here, like, he does not care at all about the pieces that he's using back here. He just cares about what those pieces allow him to accomplish on the front side. And someone like me, I probably would have to be a little bit more uniform in the back, or thinking about how these bricks in the back are coming together, and that might take away my focus from what's really important, and that is what these bricks are enabling him to do on the front side of this build. So what I mean by it's okay to be messy is, maybe you're just in the flow, right? You're in the heat of the moment. You're just using whatever bricks are close by to get your vision out. And if you were to stop and go and think about, something else that's not as important, it could interrupt that creative flow and, maybe stunt this build a little bit. So I just think that it's okay to be messy. It's okay to be structured and more uniform as well, but don't let that become the focus and it take away from that creative energy you're putting into, the front of the build, like what's going on here. So that's number 5 for me, is it's okay to be messy. All right, Andy, so what is this 5.5 you're talking about? You just gave us 5. What's 0.5? And, 0.5 for me really is just a shift in mindset. And it's maybe think less of ourselves as MOC builders and think more of ourselves as artists. I think if you were to ask Luka if he was a MOC builder or an artist, he probably would say, I'm an artist. I mean, he did change his banner on his YouTube channel to Luka Art. So I really think that is also a mind shift as well that can help you think about your build in maybe a different way. You're not just building a MOC, you're building a piece of art, and you're an artist that wants to share your vision and your creativity to the world. And the tools that you're using to do that are Lego bricks. So I think that's amazing. I think that's incredible. I think that if you're building with Lego and you're building custom creations and you're putting your vision out there and you're sharing your art with the world, that makes you an artist, and I think that's awesome. So just that little bit of a mind shift can get you thinking about your build a little bit deeper and maybe putting a little bit more care into it as well. I think sometimes, and I'm just, when I say we or you or I or whatever, I'm just saying sometimes we can think about the outcome, or what the finished product is going to be. And when we start thinking about that too much, we can end up selling ourselves short in the process, right? You gotta love the process, and the Lego building process it takes a lot of time and energy and thought, especially when you're going to be hyper detailed. And so maybe if you think of yourself as an artist, you'll care about that process a little bit more, and you'll put the time and energy into the little details instead of thinking about that outcome and sometimes rushing through the build because you want to get to the finish line, instead of really hunkering down and focusing on those details, which could really create the differentiation and really set your creation and your piece apart. So that's point 5 for me, is to think of yourself as an artist, to think of your build as a piece of art, and to put the time and care into that vision so it comes out exactly the way that you had hoped it would be. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Let me know down in the comments if you'd like to see more videos like this. I hope you learned something. I know that I learned a lot from not only this video, but obviously all the work and studying that I've done before. I hope that little trick there and slowing down the time lapse to actually be able to see what's taking place, I hope that maybe helps you out as well. Don't forget to jump down in the description and check out First Order Lego's YouTube channel and Instagram. He also has a Lego Ideas project, which I've linked down below as well, so make sure you go and support him on that as well. I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and I'll see you the next time. Thanks. Have a good one.